Welcome to this Functional Skills Level 2 English training video. This video contains information and guidance on Criterion 28. Construct complex sentences consistently and accurately using paragraphs where appropriate. At Level 2, and by the end of this session, you should be able to understand the difference between simple, compound, and complex sentences. Use complex sentences consistently. Organize ideas into paragraphs to enhance clarity and coherency. And start new paragraphs when introducing new ideas or topics. Let's start with simple sentences. A simple sentence has one main idea or independent clause. It includes a subject and a verb. The subject or noun is who or what the sentence is about. The verb is the action the subject is doing. Here are some examples of simple sentences. The subjects are in red and the verbs are in blue. In the sentence, the dog barked. The dog is the subject and barked is the verb. Let's move on to compound sentences. A compound sentence is made up of two main, or independent, clauses. The two clauses are joined by a coordinating conjunction. For example, in the sentence, the dog barked and the cat ran away. There are two independent clauses. The first clause is the dog barked, and the second clause is the cat ran away. These are both independent clauses, so can stand as sentences on their own. However, they become a compound sentence when they are joined together using and, which is a coordinating conjunction. You can use coordinating conjunctions, like the ones shown on screen, to write compound sentences. A complex sentence is built using an independent clause and a dependent clause. A dependent clause needs to be connected to an independent clause for it to make sense. These clauses are linked using a subordinating conjunction. There are some examples of complex sentences on screen. Let's look at one of these. Although it was raining heavily, they went outside for a picnic. Here, although it was raining heavily, is the dependent or subordinating clause. It does not make sense on its own. It needs to be connected to an independent clause. They went outside for a picnic is the independent clause. The clauses are connected using the subordinating conjunction although. If a dependent clause is used at the start of a sentence, a comma is needed to separate it from the independent clause. This can be seen in the examples on screen. Subordinating conjunctions are conjunctions which are used to join a dependent clause to an independent clause. This creates a complex sentence. On screen are some examples of subordinate conjunctions. In the example sentence, when we arrived, we were very disappointed. The subordinate conjunction is when. The dependent clause is therefore when we arrived. You will usually need to use 5 or 6 complex sentences in your writing to show you can use them consistently. Identify the subordinate conjunction and subordinate clause in each sentence. The first one has been done for you. In the first sentence, the subordinate conjunction is before, and the dependent clause is before the event. Pause the video while you identify the subordinate conjunctions and dependent clauses in the other examples, then press play when you're ready to continue. Let's check the other answers. In B, the subordinate conjunction is when, and the dependent or subordinate clause is when we arrived to find the skate park had been permanently closed. In C, the subordinate conjunction is because. Therefore, the dependent clause is because the bus had already left. Finally, in D, the subordinate conjunction is until. Therefore, the dependent clause in this sentence is until help arrived. Look at these sentences and decide whether they are simple, compound, or complex. Pause the video while you write down your answers, then press play when you're ready to continue. Let's check the answers. Pause the video while you do this, then press play when you're ready to continue. Here are some top tips to help you use complex sentences correctly. Use a comma to separate the dependent clause from the independent clause. Try to remember 3 or 4 subordinate conjunctions, such as although, since and while, to use in your writing. Highlight or underline the dependent clauses when you are practicing writing. Please note that to be awarded a mark, you must use complex sentences consistently throughout your response. Let's move on to using paragraphs. Paragraphs are sections of writing which are used to separate different topics within a text. Paragraphs are typically shown by using an indent, which is a space between the margin and the first word, or by using a line break, an empty line left between paragraphs. Each paragraph should start with a sentence that introduces the main idea of the paragraph. This helps the reader understand what the paragraph will be about. The following sentences should add more detail to the main idea to explain or expand on it. Although there is no set rule for how many sentences should be in a paragraph, around 3 to 6 sentences generally works best. Learners will not be given marks if each paragraph is 1 sentence long. Ensure that all the sentences in a paragraph are related to the main idea. This makes your writing clear and easy to follow. Reading your work back to yourself, particularly aloud, will help you to identify any parts that do not make sense or do not relate to the main idea. A new paragraph should be started for each new idea. You can link these ideas using transition words, such as furthermore, however, or likewise. Let's analyze this example text. As you can see from the title, the main topic of the text is exploring different types of food. However, since there are different types of foods mentioned, a new paragraph is needed for each. The text begins with an introductory paragraph. This gives us an overall idea of what the text is about. The very first sentence introduces the main point of the paragraph. The other sentences in the introduction give more information. Next, the text moves on to discuss fruits. Therefore, a new paragraph is needed. You can tell that a new paragraph has been started as the writer has missed a line between the first section of text and the section of text under the fruits subheading. When the writer moves on to talk about vegetables, another new paragraph is started. Again, you can see that the writer has missed a line between the 2 sections of text. Finally, the text ends with a paragraph about proteins. In this example, the writer has also used subheadings to further separate the paragraphs. However, new paragraphs would be needed even if subheadings had not been used, as each different food group is a change in topic. Let's look at an example paragraph. Pause the video and identify the main idea in the paragraph, then press play when you're ready to continue. Let's take a look. The main idea in this paragraph is that eating healthy foods, like fruit and vegetables, is important for our body. The writer supports this idea by giving us more information about healthy foods, such as saying that they are low in calories and high in nutrients. Points that support the main idea can be seen in blue. In this example, the writer also wants to include that drinking water is good for you, as it keeps you hydrated. They have started writing a new paragraph for this because it is introducing a new idea. The topic has changed from healthy foods to the importance of drinking water. Now it's your turn. Read the brief and write 2 or 3 paragraphs in response. Each paragraph must have more than one sentence. Between 3 and 6 sentences per paragraph is ideal. You should indicate a new paragraph by missing a line or using an indent. Remember to include complex sentences consistently. Using subordinating conjunctions, like because, when and if, will help you achieve this. Aim for 5 or 6 complex sentences in your response. You do not need to worry about formatting your email too much during this task, as the focus is on using paragraphs and complex sentences. Pause the video while you complete the task, then press play when you're ready to continue. Let's take a look at an example response. The writer has used 4 paragraphs. The first paragraph is about how the cafe looks and feels. The second paragraph is about the menu. The third paragraph is about the cafe's sustainability. The final paragraph simply invites their friend to join them. It is clear where the writer has used new paragraphs because they have missed a line to break up the text. They have also used complex sentences, such as, "When you're free, let's plan a visit." These are shown in blue. Pause the video and use this example to help you check your work, then press play when you're ready to continue. It's time to check your work. Have you included more than one paragraph? Does each paragraph have one main idea? Is the main idea supported by adding sentences that provide more detail? Is each new paragraph indicated by a new line or indent? Have you used complex sentences consistently? Simply put, have you used at least 5 complex sentences correctly? Let's recap what you've learned in this video. You should now be able to understand the difference between simple, compound, and complex sentences. Use complex sentences consistently. Organize ideas into paragraphs to enhance clarity and coherency. And start new paragraphs when introducing new ideas or topics. I hope that you've enjoyed this video. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.